Hot Springs Village Inside Out is a closer look at the greatness of Hot Springs Village, Arkansas and the surrounding areas. People, places, experiences. Hot Springs Village is one of the most beautiful places on earth. Join me, Randy Cantrell, and my co-host Dennis Simpson as we engage in weekly conversations to explore Hot Springs Village Inside Out. Today's show is brought to you by Central Arkansas's favorite radio station, KVRE. Find them on the dial at 92.9 FM. Stream them live at kvre.com. RE/MAX of Hot Springs Village. The award-winning RE/MAX of Hot Springs Village is the largest real estate office inside the village with over 30 full-time agents and support staff. Visit them to learn more about this beautiful place to solve your real estate needs. Call them today at 1-800-364-9007. Find them online at explorehsv.com. They are RE/MAX of Hot Springs Village at 1-800-364-9007 or online at explorehsv.com. Ike Eisenhower State Farm. Ike and his award-winning team have been serving the insurance needs of folks all around Hot Springs Village since 1998. Ike has qualified for State Farm's President's Club, Chairman's Circle, and Hot Springs Village Insurance Agent of the Year. Call Ike Eisenhower State Farm today at 501-984-4100. That's 501-984-4100. Find them online at ikeeisenhower.net. Call them today for all your insurance needs because, like a good neighbor, Ike Eisenhower State Farm is there.
Dennis Simpson, Hot Springs Village Inside Out, Miss Dannett Botkin, who's an old-time friend but hasn't been on the show lately, and Kimberly. Kimberly, tell me how to say your last name.
Sikora.
Because you've never had to do that before, ever in your life.
Right.
Well, Kimberly, we're going to talk today about Hot Springs Village Spaces, hsvspaces.com. How did y'all get the impetus for this? What happened?
Well, so I own this building up at the Village Square Shopping Center directly across the highway from Hot Springs Village entrance, the West Gate entrance.
Under the subway, we call it, under the subway store.
Yes. And I met with Dannett one day about some other business, and I told her I had a space that I'd like for her to come over and look at with me because I had some ideas. So she came over and we kind of brainstormed a little bit and tossed some things around, and she came up with a more detailed idea of what kind of was going on in my head, but she kind of helped me put it all together. I get calls every once in a while from somebody who they just need a temporary space. They just need a space for a little bit, maybe a day, maybe a few hours, maybe a few days, but they don't want and can't rent on a monthly basis. And up until this point, I didn't have anything available. So I couldn't accommodate any of those type of needs. So when Dannett and I started to talk about what the options were for this space, we thought, well, let's try this. We can have a space that if somebody needs to have a small conference with, 8 or 10 people, we can have one room where they can be shut off. We've got a big screen TV and a conference table, things like that, for that kind of a need. If somebody needs just for an hour, to come in, they just need a nice table and a couple of chairs, 4 chairs to sit down and maybe sign a contract with somebody. We have that. So anyway, this space just kind of fits a variety of different things. We have some 6-foot tables and chairs and things like that to accommodate, people playing cards, wedding showers, baby showers, whatever. But that's how it came to be. Dannett and I just kind of brainstormed, and then it took off from there.
Well, I got news for you, and I don't mean to keep you quarantined here, Dannett, but I got news for you. If you have ideas and you share them with Dannett, you better hang on, because that's what happens thereafter.
That is the truth. Yes, I have learned that.
I could have told you. I could have told you had you only called. Hey, Dennis, I'm thinking about sharing some ideas with Dannett. Shh, go slow, go slow. She's going to knock you down. Have you drank from a fire hose before?
Right.
Dannett, how did you see this space and what did you see this opportunity?
Well, I can talk from my business perspective in that when I've traveled around the country and stuff, I've been able to rent shareable spaces where if I just need a conference room or a meeting room or that kind of thing, and that just didn't, it even exists in Little Rock. I have had a lot of meetings out there in the tech place in Little Rock, and it just didn't exist here. And for my business, I take people to lunch a lot because, you know, my staff is all virtual. We have been from the day that I started 7 years ago. And so in part of me, I work from home and everybody else. So when we have a client meeting, if I don't know them that well, I don't want them coming to my personal house. And so I take them out to lunch, and, you know, with the prices of food and stuff, it's just gotten very expensive. What we used to do for $40 is now $80, you know? So I really needed personally a meeting space that I could go to for just, you know, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, or to hold networking events or, you know, group meetings. And so from my perspective, I came into it thinking, I've been looking for this, let's make it happen. As Kimberly and I were brainstorming, and this space just seemed to me like a perfect fit because we could do so many different parts of it, whether it be a whole party space or a conference space or a networking space. Like, it just would work for everything. That yeah, I mean, as we brainstormed and shared the idea, then I just kind of, like you said, ran with it a little bit because it definitely satisfied my need. And I know if it did mine, it would several other people. And just last year, they reported in the village that there's 200 remote workers now living here, and it's just going to keep growing.
Yeah.
So all of us are kind of looking for that kind of space, especially if we're meeting people, because some people you can have at your house, and some people it's just not comfortable. Right?
I understand. So let me get this. So it was either coming down to making a shared space like this, or we're just all coming to your house. Is that what I'm hearing?
Right.
It was one of those two.
Of course.
Let me share my experience, and I haven't shared this with either of y'all yet, but one of my first experiences, and I want to make sure I'm phrasing this right. I heard there was a pop-up of Ambrosia Bakery, and I'm like, hey, I am there. I am coming that way. I walked in, and the poor couple, there was a lady running the cashier that clearly was a temporary employee that had not worked there before. And one of the other guys, when he was like, I'm on my 4th run back to Hot Springs to get more stuff. And every time I thought I would get enough stuff, I'm out. I'll be back. I'm like, I just wanted a couple of cookies, you know. But I was that the kind of impetus that you saw and you thought, man, the demand is pent up here, really?
Well, actually, I had an employee that worked for me at that time kind of enticed Ambrosia to come here and do a pop-up. And we thought that would be a great idea because they were thinking about coming in the village, but they didn't know where they wanted to be or if the market would work for them. And since we had the Sequoia shared space, that kind of just was synergy. And it happened, and they did really well in the first one, and they did really well in the second one. And that's what led for them to get their permanent space here. And if they grow out of that space, they're going to look for a bigger space in the village. So it was a great test the market kind of option. Yeah. And the Sequoia shared space worked great for that. And I know that we have several other pop-ups that we're trying to make happen in the space as well. So it, you know, like I said, the space just kind of works for everything.
Yeah. Well, and for me, what I realize, and I see this, you know, it could be business meetings, it could be church groups, it could be a church meeting, it could be, you know, some small churches are forming, that kind of thing. It could literally be a club that wanted to read it for an afternoon, right, Kimberly?
Right. Exactly. So we do have a group right now that does Bible studies on certain evenings of the week. We have a church that does meet on a Saturday. There are so many, I mean, things that I really had not even thought about there was a need for that I've learned since then. And I think it's, you know, it's cool to watch it because sometimes things happen for a reason. And you know, I started with something, just a little thing. We just need this. And with Dannett, it grew and grew. And now I see, wow, we needed a lot more than what I realized.
Mm-hmm. And are you beginning to realize that my point is correct? If you have an idea, you don't just blurt it out in front of Dannett, or next thing you know, you're going to have to be working. I don't know if you know how this works.
That's right.
Well,
I'm
tell me.
innocent. I'm innocent.
Yeah, whatever. Kimberly, tell me how you got to Hot Springs Village.
Oh my goodness. In 1975, I was 8 or 9 years old, and my parents came here to work for John Cooper with Cooper
Really?
Communities to sell real estate. Yep. So I grew up here, went to Jesseville High School, born in Arkansas, mostly raised here, raised my children here.
I don't mean to cast disparity on anybody, but a guy said this the other day too. He said he was from Jesseville, and I'm like, no, you're not. It's Jesseville. It's a lot short. Jesseville. What kind of northerner use those kind of terms? What are you from, Eureka Springs or something, or what? I mean, no, but I get it. So, but your parents, how incredible that your parents. What did they do? Just sold real estate or what?
They did. Worked for Cooper Communities.
And for how many years?
Oh, I don't even know. Many years.
So, and I'm cutting ahead to the chase here just for a moment, but some of the event space. So for 1 to 2 hours, it's like $35,
Mhm.
and then $75 for a half day, $100 for a full day.
Right.
I'm no space guy, but that's a bargain.
It is. It truly is. But we want it to be affordable so that anybody really could use it if they want to, if they need it. Everything is so expensive nowadays, for sure. But we just want to make it easily accessible for anybody who has a need.
Yeah.
All we ask is that they clean up after themselves and put things back like they were, and we'll give you a bargain.
That's harder than it sounds.
That's right. For sure.
Dannett, where do you see this going from here?
I was just speaking with Kimberly earlier that a lot of clubs, so the space is great. We had a ladies' night there. We've had networking events there. There's been game nights there. And a lot of the clubs are coming in saying, okay, we need a bigger space because they're no longer in a church or they're no longer in different places that were available. But they need some round tables together, and then they want to do some more casino nights and different things. So I see an expansion happening into a room next door when it's possible and when it's feasible. And it's Kimberly's building, so we do things for Kimberly because it's like her control. I just have all the ideas. Like you said, I'm to blame for all the ideas, and I just keep giving them to you, and then you can run with them.
No, I'm chuckling because I can hear you say, well, it's Kimberly's building, but it is my sledgehammer, and I will help you.
So I just see that a lot of spaces could happen where it could keep growing and keep filling the needs of the community. And then hopefully eventually have one on the east side too. That there's never a limit to what we can do.
Yeah. Kimberly, where do you see it?
I honestly don't know. And I like to keep things open. My imagination's open. I don't have anything set in stone that I want to plan for it. I love where it's gone so far. I'm just kind of going to see where it takes us for now and go with the flow, and whatever happens and whatever becomes obvious that there's a need for, we'll work on it.
You guys remind me of the Far Side cartoon where there's 2 mosquitoes on a guy's arm, and one mosquito is just blowing up, and the other mosquito says, "You've hit an artery, Hal, pull out. You've hit an artery." I personally think you may have hit an artery here, because this is and I realize I'm playing it through in my mind as we talk. I mean, the Coronado Club, the Coronado Center, all these places. This is in some way who you're competing against, and they've not really had any competition to speak of for 50 years, right?
Yeah, and we definitely wanted to do something different in that when you come to our space, that we have coffee available, we have tea available, we have shareable dishes, we have notebooks, we have office supplies. We have a video and photography room with all the equipment on loan from my company. Some things on loan from my second company with Jennifer Allen, the commercial HubSpot. So you don't really have to worry about things or setting things up, because this space, it welcomes you and it has everything that you need, which is different than any of the spaces that are out there.
Yeah, that's for sure too. I can just use the equipment. I don't have to go hire my tech guy because we can't use your, that kind of thing. Been there, done that. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure, ladies. And Dannett, you touched on something that I just hung up the phone talking to Miss Allen about. And that's the other project that y'all are working on. So we're going to have to come back around and do another show for that. Okay.
Yes. Great.
Kimberly, it's been great having you today. How do people reach? We can go to hsvspaces.com.
And my phone number is 501-922-8078. We do have a big sign out here right above the space that also has my phone number. And yeah.
So, and let's recap to make sure exactly sure we know where we are. If you pull into the shopping center there by Brookshires and you turn between Brookshires and Subway and you drive down the hill, you drive down the hill and it's literally kind of underneath the Subway there.
Correct. Kind of in the middle of the building, but yes, around back.
Under the sand trap, somebody might say, to be more specific,
yes,
right, Dannett?
Pretty close.
And if I can throw in a little sales pitch a little bit, Kimberly is probably one of the best landlords and people to work with that I've worked with in my career. And
Really?
she's very, very impressive. And she has a few spaces available for rent, so call her.
Well,
I can tell that I'm in marketing.
And let me those ideas again. I'm telling you, Kimberly, I warned you. No, what I wanted to go through with that is that, I meant to say this when we were talking about the spaces, the HSV spaces. It looks customizable and modular. How are the other spaces that you have for longer term rents? What are they like?
Well, I only have one small and then one a little bit larger available right now, but pretty much they are full. Well, there's a couple of different kinds. Most of them are set up for businesses, whether it's a doctor or an investment firm or a restaurant or something like that. But half of the downstairs down here where my office is actually small rooms where individuals can come, set up their own desk, and just rent at a very reasonable rate for the month and have it, for the whole year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever, because so many people are working remotely now. And I tell you, those spaces go fast. I don't have one empty very often, but I do have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I would say 10 down here. And they have lots of variety of different people, from a writer to an administrator to a barber, of course, out front, FedEx, lots of different things. So that's part of the building. But the other, and we have a church and down on the end down here. But so it's really kind of a variety, but mostly businesses. But we do try to accommodate those who don't really have a storefront business, but they just need some office space. So we kind of have all of that.
Well, I'm going to speak for Dannett because I know her well enough on this, but I know somebody who's a networker, and you know somebody who's a networker, right? Yeah. And we don't mind, and I'm sure you do too, Kimberly, but we don't mind getting out and handing out cards, saying hi to people, working, blah, 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 blah. There's a group of personalities that they do better in the office, internet working with everybody else. And when you talk about, you've got a nice house, why don't you just work and stay at your house and work remote there? You've got internet, what more do you need? Sometimes people need that interaction. Sometimes the oh God, the synergy. Oh boy. Okay. I'm going to have to pay for that word, I bet. But truly the energy of more people coming together, 2 and 2 sometimes make 7. And it does, Dannett. I know you do too, Kimberly. When you're working with somebody and you're like, well, why don't you call Fred? Fred does this. And Dannett says, why don't you call Sally? And Sally goes, well, I called Kimberly. Why don't y'all call Dannett? There's a lot of that really, it can't be replicated at home alone. Right, Dannett?
Mm-hmm.
I agree, 100%. Yeah.
And we're people who work at home alone, right, Dannett?
Yes, we are.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. Tell us your phone number again, 501-922-8078.
8078.
And Kimberly, thank you for joining us. Dannett, great seeing you again.
Thank you.
We will see you next time.
Thanks for watching and listening to Hot Springs Village Inside Out, a weekly podcast starring Hot Springs Village, Arkansas. Visit the website at hotspringsvillageinsideout.com.